Hello everybody and welcome in today. So today is a really special video, so I hope you stick with me for at least the vast majority of the video. If you ever need to, just hit the pause button, come back and finish my videos at a later time. So I'm very well rested today and I'm super grateful and super thankful for all of you for being here. Also, so many of you who have really helped out hitting the subscribe button. I can't ask enough for that because it really does help my channel out. And please help out other YouTubers by hitting the subscribe button every time you go in to a new channel. You only have to hit it one time and then just periodically check and make sure you're still subscribed to those people that you really love to watch. So thank you all so much for joining in. 4 huge totes of vintage costume jewelry to go through today. This collection is truly outstanding. I will get right on into this because I don't have, too long today to get this done, but I wanted to show you some of the standouts. I'm not going to go through every piece just because I don't have the time to do it today, and I know that you all understand that I've been really busy with quite a few things in my life, and I have gotten back into the studio, so producing sterling silver jewelry has taken a lot of my free time lately, so I really appreciate you being here. There's 2 tremblers up in the top of this, and I'll bring them up to the light so you can see this. I'm going to scoot this a little bit forward. There we go. So look at that one for a vintage trembler. And boy, does that move. That's like from the 1940s. Probably unsigned CORO. There were a few different makers like Duget and Reja that were producing these pieces. But once again, just really nice enameling. Very cool design. And I really love how that flower trembles. It is on a spring mechanism. And that is pot metal, but beautifully done and in wonderful condition. And I really wanted to welcome you all in again. So thank you for making my videos so much fun. I really do enjoy these. And I was, it was strange today. I woke up and I was really energized and I said, I can hardly wait to do my video today. And then halfway through the day, I kind of looked at it like, I really don't want to do this today. So it was one of those days that I was, slowly reluctant, So this is TRIFARI. And this is more of the really high-end TRIFARI. And it is signed, let's see, it's signed right in here. It's signed in there with the TRIFARI, with the crown T. That is one of the coolest. And that faux turquoise, kind of a checkerboard pattern, if you will, or 2 rows of turquoise cabochons, and then those tiny little rhinestones. Why I loved this collection is everything was in such beautiful condition, worn and appreciated, but then independently stored in bags and in these plastic boxes. When people have asked me how I store my collection, on a personal level, I have many different ways, and it depends on what the items are, and it depends on the materials. So I don't always store things the same exact, for all pieces. And I'll get into the way I store things, but I very much so appreciated these, very wonderful containers that then you can see the items very clearly, know where items are located, and then know exactly what you have without, having to fumble through paper boxes. That just gets very frustrating, So this is a festoon double pin with festoon chains, and that is late 1920s into the 1930s. I love these lily pads. Some people might incorrectly attribute this to early Miriam Haskell. They might also incorrectly attribute this to like Joseph of Hollywood. It is neither. It is neither company. There's no indication that that is Haskell, and there's no indication that that is Joseph of Hollywood. These are just very beautifully done. And they're die-formed brass and this kind of, lily pad design with these applied glass bead clusters. One may be off of this one. You might say there may have been one here at one point, but still lovely condition. And then these festoon chains, and you would wear these, kind of side by side or one up and one down and let the chains festoon down off of that, but very substantial. I don't know if I said, but that was even still continuing through the late 30s and into the 1940s. By the 1940s, that design really wasn't happening that much more. Let me get my loop. I think that this is Jomaz. It is. It's signed Jomaz down inside, and I didn't have an awful lot of time to review all of the different designers this is so fresh to me, and I've had, I don't even know, not very long to look at the collection, but these rhinestones are in lovely condition, rhodium plated, riveted construction. Look at how costume jewelry was made to look like fine jewelry. The craft that it took to construct this double layer brooch and then have that cabochon faux emerald stone and then those tiny little rhinestones that look like diamonds. From across the room, you would think that was platinum, emerald, and diamonds. Made to look real, made to deceive, made to mimic fine jewelry. And that's what early and well-made costume jewelry did. And that's a classic example that would hold up against any diamond. Any day of the week. It looks so believable, and the craft is so lovely. So that's beautiful. And Joe Maz has actually started to pick up value again. Years ago, that would have only been around $125. Now it's around $165 to $175 retail sale. Could you ask more? I'm sure you could. Would you get it? I don't think so. You might be able to, but highly doubtful. These are Russian. Some people say they're from Portugal. Other people say other origins. I have always known these to be Russian enamel brooches. So that's a painted enamel on metal. That is not ceramic. That is a counter enamel. See down in here, people say, well, how do you know it's enameled? That's the counter enamel. That is glass on metal, and it's this slightly domed piece of metal with this beautiful hand-painted floral surface and then mounted in sterling silver. Really beautifully done. And these have picked up momentum. Years ago, these might have been $30 to $35. Now they're $65 to $75. And they're actually selling because isn't that just so intricate and so beautiful? I really love that. Age on that is very difficult to tell because they've continued the same technique and the same process for a long time. This is just very sweet. It's a shell cameo, and that is vermeil sterling silver, marked 925 at the bottom. And it's a brooch or a pendant, and I just thought she was very sweet. Will all of these pieces, stay together? I think as of right now, yes, I really do. This one is quite a notable one, and two different companies were producing these. And I should say there were more than two, but two of the leaders were WEISS and SCHREINER of New York. SCHREINER of New York has really escalated in value. It's always been sought after. It's always been expensive. It is in my top 20 of designers, of course. It's just the craft, the design, the stones they used, the metal, the materials, signed right down on here on the oval. SCHREINER, New York. That is just exceptional. Really, truly beautiful. And the WEISS version is very similar to this. So unfortunately, the WEISS ones don't go near what the SCHREINERs do. This one was Mexican silver, inlaid abalone Mexican sterling. Thought that was very classy, very beautiful, very well done again. You can tell that this collection was based on quality and based on design. It wasn't based on maker. It wasn't based on a signature. It was based on the craft. These are elegant pieces. There's a certain elegance. And you can see within a collection the story of the wearer. I've always talked about how these things that we wear define us as not only our fashion, but also as collectors. This one's TRIFARI. I think this was $30 back in the day. This same brooch now sells for well over, $80, maybe $90 in these kind of topaz colored stones, or you could say citrine colored stones, because they kind of hedge in between smoky quartz and citrine. Because they kind of sit right in between that. But beautiful design, beautiful craft on TRIFARI. And TRIFARI is another company in the top 20 of my own personal thought. Definitely in the top 20. And I'm going to do a top 20 countdown video. It's taken me a lot of time to settle into that because I get into these videos and then I forgot to say so much information. I always forget to say so much information because I always hurry. I was always in this panic early on when you watch my videos. And even today, sometimes I go absolutely crazy because I just want to get them done. I don't want to drag my feet. There's some people who hold something up for 45 minutes and I just can't do it, Or in a short feed, they kind of fumble around with one thing. I'm like, I can't do it. Usually, I got to show 20 pieces in one short. I just, I guess my theory was with Carmen Miranda, she thought too much fruit was just enough. So I obviously think too much jewelry is just enough, but that's to each their own. And I've been, called a walking Christmas tree before. It's happened, and I took it as a compliment. This one is CORO. It's signed down in, and what I loved about this is the enameling is so gorgeous, and it's two pansies, and there's these kind of blown glass ornamentation on the surface, yellow there and blue there, a couple little rhinestone accents. I just thought that was beautifully done. Absolutely beautifully done. I think this is by Har, H-A-R. It is. This is a Har brooch. And, you know, Har, years ago, this brooch would have sold for, oh, I don't know, 125 to 135. Now I might be able to get, you know, 75 to 85. You know, there's just things that come and go. You know, it's like anything else. You know, there's that ebb and flow in business and desirability, you know, like turquoise comes in, turquoise goes out, but it never truly goes out. You know, it always comes back. And I've said that about vintage rhinestone pieces. There is that kind of, you know, push and pull of different values. And unfortunately, I think some collectors, well, you know, I'll say it, I don't think some collectors are very forth-seeing because they buy by name, you know, instead of buying by craft. I've always said, buy by the way something is designed and the way something is made. This one's India. This one is from India, and these are these very unique kind of polka-dotted glass beads and faux pearls. And this one's definitely from India. That's a classic Indian clasp, and looking like emerald and pearl. Very beautiful, very elegant. We got through the first one. Look at us go. So we're going to set that one out of the way, and we're going to scoot over another one. And I really appreciate your attention today, because like I said, before I started the camera, I just wasn't feeling it. I just really wasn't feeling it today, you know. So thank you so much. These are just glass beads, but beautifully done. And I love them, but I stay focused more on, if you were to have me pick up two, you'd show me this one, I would instantly say, oh, I like this one better. So these are Niger Brothers scarab glass beads, and this is very much so from the late 1920s, and these are those beautiful scarab beads with that over dye green and these kind of tubular like bugle beads in cherry red all the way up this really fine chain. And then I loved that sensual single drop of that kind of modeled art glass. I've talked in a previous video about the glass from the Czech Republic from Jablonec, and technically called Jablonec as the origin of the glass, but definitely Czechoslovakian. And I talked about Jablonec glass for a long time. This would for sure fall within that production because of the way this is put together, the quality of these beads, and then the quality of these art glass. Absolutely, that color combination is for sure Jablonec production. Really beautifully done on that. This one's very classy, and of course I said earlier, a very classy and a very sophisticated collection. This one is Vendome, and very, just beautiful. Timeless. You could wear it with a lot of different colors. The wearability of some of the costume jewelry was very diverse, because costume jewelry, popular, you know, contrary to popular belief, it was very expensive. You know, it was never really cheap, you know. It was cheaper than fine, but some of these things were, you know, very expensive. And people of moderate means couldn't necessarily afford costume jewelry even back in the day. These are Venetian glass, and a value on that one, I would say probably 95. To keep it fair. These are Venetian and beautifully done, expertly spaced with those kind of end caps in brass filigree. Really think that that is a robust style clasp, handmade, but I loved that simplicity of black with the gold metallic over it. Encased. Absolutely love it, and thank you again so much for staying with me today, because there's a lot more in these other two totes, and this is just kind of a rough show and tell today. I don't know what else to call it. I should put that in the title, the roughest show and tell Jason's ever done. That may be the title, you never know, because I keep it honest. This is David Anderson, and it's a beautiful leaf necklace and the matching double leaf earrings. Sometimes you'll find the single leaf. I do know that there's a brooch to this somewhere. It's just not in this container as of now. But look at that enameling and that enamel surface, and the color of David Anderson's work is really exceptional. So I love that so much. I think that that is truly elegant. And there's no chips to the enamel. Anything you see that looks like an imperfection, it's just reflection off of the ring light. But so beautiful. Really remarkable in terms of its craft. Let me see if I can pick up the hallmark for you and show you the David Anderson mark. Let's see. I just picked up my loop. Let's see. There we go. Well, I was going to bring a loop up there. Hopefully you can see that for the David Anderson mark. Very well known in Scandinavian silver. One of the most prolific as well. You'll find a lot of David Anderson in the world. I would say years ago on that set, it was down to like $125. Now I'd say on that set, it's like $250, $260. And that's from experience. Someone else may say, oh, I don't think it's that much. Well, guess what? I just sold one that wasn't as nice for slightly over that. So I try to keep my prices conservative. I really do. And there's that, you know, difference of opinion, and we're entitled to that as collectors and as of dealers. And that's another thing I'll say. Some people in different parts of the world, the prices are different. Some people in different states in the United States, things are just different, you know? Like out west, turquoise, you know, extremely expensive. You know, you come over to Ohio and Pennsylvania, it's still expensive, but it's not nearly as expensive. This is a lariat necklace, and a true lariat. So it's an uneven drop style necklace, 1920s, really in lovely condition. Not, you know, not historically important, but so fashionable and delicate and wearable. This one is the dark blue enamel David Anderson necklace, and I've always just been so in love with the naturalistic element of leaves in jewelry. I've always just thought foliate, leaves, florals, tendrils, scrolls, even like grape clusters, natural things in jewelry always made me really happy as design elements. And that's just me, you know. If something else strikes somebody else, like figurals or animals or, you know, whatever it may be. Plus, I always loved such lush colors in jewelry. I like to see something bright. I like to see something maybe a little more flashy, a little more overstated. You know, like this is still really elegant and beautiful, but it's just, you know, the earth tone thing just doesn't do it for me. But look, it did it for this collector. They loved them both. And I understand that, you know. But in my collection, I would really focus on things like this. You know, and because you can layer this, you can wear this up high and wear like a longer rope style necklace underneath this. It was always about telling a story with what I chose to wear on a daily basis. This one, I need to study this some more, but boy, oh boy, is this important and very cool. The clasp is very old, may have been replaced. These caged beads are in fact silver. They might be 800 silver, they might be 900 silver. I'm not exactly sure on the silver content. This just keeps going and going and going. I loved that caged-like construction on those beads, and I really hope this video is staying in focus. It's trying to focus on the background and what I'm showing at the same time, so please just bear with me if it's a little out of focus. I do ask for your forgiveness in that. I'm trying to get it in focus. Look at these pink foiled beads. So there's pink beads with these foiled polka dots of this almost iris glass of blue, raspberry, lime green, and kind of a silver tone foil underneath. So blue, green, and pink, I would say, if you had to consolidate it down to 3 words. But that foil makes it electric. That foil really lights up those dots. And as you wear this, those turn and flash at the viewer. Wish I could show you, but they turn and flash. There's this internal fire in these beads that's just exceptional. You know, someone might say Venetian. I would disagree. I would still say Gablans. I'm 80% sure that these are Czechoslovakian and not Venetian. They do not read as Venetian to me. Other collectors, other historians, other sellers might say, oh, those are Venetian glass. Not according to me. Not according to what I saw in the Gablans book that I had from years ago. These do read as Czechoslovakian glass beads to me. In my early years of collecting and selling, I would say that these were Venetian. But with time, you elevate your knowledge. You kind of take the extra step forward. Sometimes it's difficult for people to get out of like a rut of saying one thing, and then when you know in your heart, you know, it's not right. The way those are finished, the end caps as well, those end caps are Czechoslovakian. Like that, no one can say that's Venetian to me. That's a Czechoslovakian finding. Absolutely Czechoslovakian. I think the whole piece was produced in the Czech Republic. And if these beads were produced elsewhere, like they could be Portugal, they could be Italian, they might even be Czechoslovakian, but those glass beads to me say, I'm 90% sure that those are Czechoslovakian and technically Gobelins glass. This collection just has such diversity in its quality and in its forms. I'm so glad to be able to do some of these for discovery of a person's collection that had worked tirelessly over a long time. This is Art Deco. It's a Deco original. It's not Deco reproduction. It's not a later one from the 40s. This is definitely the heart of late 1925 into 1930. Absolutely, that construction says I am old, old, old. There's no denying that. Now, we did see a later surge or revival of Deco in the 40s, but you can tell the difference. It's very much so more heavy-handed, you know, more clumsy. And it's not a bad thing to call something what it is. If it's clumsy, call it clumsy. You know, it's like, it's not knocking it. It's just stating a fact, you know. This one is Miriam Haskell. It is purple coral. A natural kind of a sponge coral in purple, pink faux pearls, as I struggle for the words, and the Miriam Haskell hang tag is here. And I just want to make sure that I had it in order so that you could see this very well. There's the Miriam Haskell. There's the Haskell kind of slip closure, or you push it down. Oh, I'm not even in the frame. You push it down and then you pull it like this. So to open it and then to close it, it kind of closes itself on tension. Really great beads though. Fantastic quality. Purple coral is a thing. Are they dyed? Some might be, and more than likely some of these have been. There were a couple strands of purple coral I had back in the day that were very much so a very natural color. They didn't look exactly like this though, so those are probably color treated, and maybe the sponge coral aren't color treated. I don't know, I wasn't there. And guess what, it doesn't matter because it's Haskell. You know, that's where the value is at. It's not in the coral, or you know, for someone to come on and be like, well, that can't be real. Well, it sure can be. It absolutely can be. TRIFARI a dangle brooch with these amber glass stones. One of the best TRIFARIs I've ever seen. There's the brooch with these amazing faux poured glass. So those are molded, fully articulated with those dangling rhinestones to look like a bunch of berries or a cluster of grapes. Look at this huge TRIFARI bracelet. So heavy, so big. And really in amazing condition. No wear to the gold. Look at those huge kind of amber glass stones. And then fully signed TRIFARI on this fold-over clasp down there. Really amazing. And to find, you know, the bracelet in the ear, or the bracelet and the brooch, that's amazing. The earrings are here somewhere, I do believe. This is the huge overstated TRIFARI collar with the same design, and boy, am I going to struggle with this. So that's just the way this goes. You know, that's the way this goes. But these laid down so beautiful. You have to take my word for it. But a fantastic design. Some people always get very carried away with Alfred Philippe. They say, oh, it's Alfred Philippe. Oh, it's Alfred Philippe. That's all you hear anymore. You know, it's like there's no other designer for TRIFARI besides Alfred Philippe. That's not true. So was he a lead designer? Sure. You know, is he supposed to be talked about? Yes. Is this a Philippe? It very well might be. You know, does that control the value? No. What does control the value is it's a demi-parure. With the earrings, it's a full parure. So 4 pieces or over is what I've always considered a parure. And then 3 pieces or under is a demi-parure, or a set, you could say. The way this is constructed, I could talk about this forever. And I might do a short feed on this. Maybe I will put this in a short feed. I don't know why this one bead. I'm not going to force it because I'm not going to break it off. This one bead is just not willing to lay down. It's saying, I do not want to. Let's take a look at that. Let's see what's going on. Let's see here as I take a break. Let's see. There we go. Look. So now it laid down in there. I'm so glad that I'm able to do this with all of you. This discovery together on a collection like this is awesome. And you know, I will say this. This is the beauty of YouTube. Like normally I'd be doing this by myself, you know, right? All by my lonesome, not being distracted, not having to talk, you know, just having a really good time, you know? And I'm having a blast doing this. But it's so much cooler to show with so many different people. I'm not going to be in this one long. A lot of beads. Beads are just, you know, they're just not my thing sometimes. And that's okay. And everyone's like, please show us, please show us. Well, I'll show you most of it. This one's Victorian. Love it. And, you know, do we want to fight over vulcanite, gutta percha? You know, do we want to fight over all that? I don't want to fight about any of it. So I'll just say that this is a Victorian mourning brooch and around 1870. You know, maybe 1865, 1875. Circa dating is always our friend, you know. So isn't that beautiful? Would you consider that hard rubber? I most certainly would, because if you rub it, it smells like burning rubber. These are flapper beads, and there's more of these in the collection, but these are really beautiful because it's that wide woven mesh, and then that kind of, again, double lariat drop. So you have these two kind of uneven seed beaded drops. Really, very beautiful yellow color, and I really love how that's woven together. And that was kind of a cottage industry thing. It was women sitting at home and putting together these beaded necklaces, late 20s in through the 1930s, even into the 1940s. I do not know who made this one, but I have to look. So just as of right now, I'm not gonna struggle to see it. But that one's rhodium plated, really beautiful. The condition of these things is truly exceptional. So look and make sure all rhinestones are there and that those pearls don't have a lot of wear. Always watch the pearls, because even in TRIFARI jewelry, if the pearls get chewed up at all, you have to replace them. And if you replace them, you have to replace them with vintage. You can't replace them with new, because you can tell. These are just what would be considered French jet. They would be considered French jet. They're just black glass beads, but those would be considered French jet. Probably 1875, maybe 1880. Very long, beautiful, in wonderful condition. And yeah, we've seen an uptick on pricing on these. Not sure why. Maybe some of the reenactment things or the fashion things for Victorian guilds and collecting groups. Maybe that's part of it. You know, people getting reintroduced to our history sometimes will drive the price of more simple jewelry from the time periods so that they can be authentic. Love the way this was done on green cord with that electric kind of luster, peacock luster glass. I've always loved flapper beads. I've always loved them. And years ago, I had a very large collection, and then I sold probably 30 strands. And I think the cheapest I sold a strand was around $55 or $65. And, you know, that kind of value has, like, kind of flatlined and maintained over the years. You know, it hasn't gone up, it hasn't gone down. It's just kind of flatlined. And most jewelry seems to do that. You know, most jewelry seems to kind of just not really flatline, but some of the more, I don't know, and that was $1, by the way. That necklace was $1. It's just unbelievable sometimes what $1 will buy you. I know that I wouldn't personally bead that for less than, what, $50 today, because the time it would take. And then this one is like hand crocheted rope that's all beaded with this twist and this dramatic twist of an earth tone again and black. And then these Venetian beads down here. I've always considered those Venetian as well, because that wedding cake application, that kind of, you know, what they consider wedding cake, the cake icing, that's those little flowers, you know, little delicate flowers on that black glass, and then the beaded tassels. Just make sure the tassels are all there. Sometimes you'll be missing one loop or two. It's acceptable, but always make sure there's no wear on the chain part or what goes around the neck, because if there's wear on that, they don't sell well, you know, because people know they're going to give up, you know, eventually. This one's sterling silver and cultured pearl. Might be Mikimoto. Have to take a closer look at that. That could be big bucks. That could be, you know, that could be at least 150 to 200. Have to look at that. This one is TRIFARI. Remember that? This one's a very common TRIFARI. Still sells 35, 45 all day long. TRIFARI signed on the back. This one's TRIFARI as well. And this one is TRIFARI in the corner. But I like those because, you know, you could almost do a good, better, and best with those three. But there's no reason to, because they're all so different. That calla lily with this dramatic kind of spray of faux pearls, riveted construction Trifari in lovely condition. Always watch that the high points on the pearls are not worn or chipped, and then watch the wear on the metal, because as soon as you get wear on the metal on those, you've got a major problem, you know? So hopefully you're still with me. One more container to go, and this is only, as I think it's hilarious, this is only part 1 of 2 out of this collection. So you'll have to stay put for the next ones, and we'll just kind of leaf through these, no pun intended. We'll try and leaf through these really quick. Some of these I don't know if they're signed. You know, that one's signed right here, and I don't remember. Maybe it's CORO craft. That looks very CORO craft. And then this is awesome. These Czechoslovakian spiders have been going way up in value. So there's a Czech glass spider. Very nice, because the stones are all there. And pink, a more uncommon color. Tons of Trifari on this top layer. I won't take everything out, but that's that Lily of the Valley design Trifari. That one's very sought after. You know, a little bit of wear on the gold, but not much. Beautiful faux pearls. Love it. There's more Trifari, and then this one is Trifari as well. Beautiful rhinestones in these. Really good quality stones, and all of them are there. If you're missing 1 or 2, just replace them with old stones. And I did on my one live feed that replacement, that live replacement. So if you need to see how to replace rhinestones, for right now, just go over to that video, because I'm going to do a replacement one soon. I just haven't gotten to it yet. You know, someone said to me, can you do this video? Can you do that video? I love the recommendations, but you have to understand, I literally have 1,000 videos that I want to do. And that's no lie. You know, other content creators, they're like, I don't know what else to talk about. And I'm like, I don't know when to shut my mouth. This is Trifari. They probably want me to, by the way. This is Trifari. Not going to happen. This one's Trifari faux pearl, rhinestone, and gold. Really love that. With their original hang tag. You know, I thought that was super cool part of the collection. You can find Trifari with their tags. This is like a rhinestone brooch and matching earrings. Really beautiful design. Beautiful stones. And I love that these things were stored correctly. I always thought this was by Boucher, but I don't know. It is signed sterling, and it does have that secondary vermeil. It is worn, but that kind of retro bow style, they forgive the wear because we expect to see that kind of wear. We could polish all that off or replate it. Either direction is acceptable at this point. I have no idea who did this. That looks like CORO craft or Vendome. Let's take a peek. Vendome. Good call. Beginner's luck. This one's Vendome. And CORO craft did one similar. But look at these. Beautiful. They sound like wind chimes. Listen to that. ASMR. And also annoying. So that one is long faux pearls and then rhinestones. And it is signed Vendome up inside there. So that's signed Vendome. And all the pearls are there. How did those survive being kind of very hollow glass? How did those survive? And all of them are there. It's just, that's a remarkable survivor. And that design of this almost, I don't even know how to describe it, you know? A floral rain cloud, and then that perpetual rain of long baroque pearls or long, you know, kind of, it's fabulous. I could get lost in that one. I won't bore you with the details on that. This one always sells well. This is a Trifari, and that's a natural mother of pearl. That's not a faux pearl in there. That's a natural mother of pearl. Little rhinestone heart. This one sells very quickly. Anytime you list that online, that's going to be gone within, you know, a day or two. That's one of the ones that's really sought after still. I've had it several times. I think they did it with different colored stones on the outside of like a mother's brooch with like rhinestones for the birth of their children or grandchildren. Color combinations is what I mean. Hattie Carnegie on this one. As I start to wind down the video, beautiful enameling in this abstract floral or a firework. I think that most of these are a step above average, you know. They're very beautiful examples of these artists, and when you look at some of these, you instantly know the designer. You know, there's some that you don't, but then there's some that you instantly know some of the designers of these things. And some of these pieces, they just have that classy, timeless elegance. And I think that's what costume jewelry was most known for. At least the costume jewelry that's highly sought after now. This is probably Capri. I didn't really look, but this is, to me, it reads as Capri. It more than likely is. Let me take a look. Yeah, it's signed right here. So there we go. Yeah, so I'm starting to tire out. Don't know. This one's Trifari. The Black Cat is an enamel Trifari. This one's from the late 80s. Enamel Trifari. I love that cat. I've always loved cat jewelry. Little turtle, little frogs. Oh, this one's original by Robert. So I think that's going to do it for today. 35 minutes in, and what a successful run of 4 containers loaded with vintage costume jewelry. I think why I like to show these videos of collections within a collection, the reason why I show these is it gives me time to reflect on design, craft, desirability, values, profit margins, the business in general. And I will tell you, vintage costume, there's still a lot of money in it. It depends on, sometimes it depends on the maker, and then other times it depends on the craft and the condition. Sometimes it depends on all those factors. So hopefully that gave you a little bit more information. I so appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to go forth with my day with peace and kindness in my heart. If someone's cruel to you today, just shrug your shoulders and ignore it. You know, there's a lot going on right now. And a lot of times I've often said to people, you know, life doesn't deserve your best Oscar-winning performance. Stay focused on good and stay focused on kindness and just do your best. That's all we can all do, is just do our best every day. And I will say that when I stumble and fall, you all pick me up, and I hope I do the same for you. I guess I end this with my classic. You know how I end it? I love you because I do.